everyone, this is Abby from Realize Learning, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about medication for ADHD. So I often hear from people either I really need to go on meds or I probably should go on meds because I need to, fix my ADHD, or I'll hear I'm really, really afraid to go on medication and I think it's bad and it's, not a good idea to start medication and then it's hard to get off. So I hear all sorts of ideas about medication, and I think that those are valid, but I think that, what people often don't consider is that the medication, either way, whether you take, a stimulant medication or a non-stimulant medication, it's not going to fix your ADHD or fix your ADD. So medication is a really great tool for some people as a supplement to addressing ADHD symptoms or ADD symptoms. So what I mean by that is you could take medication and that could potentially alleviate some of your focus issues, some of your impulsivity, some of the, self-control issues around like outbursts and mood type things. It could help mitigate some of that. But at the end of the day, it's not going to cure your ADHD. And if you really want to get the most out of using a medication, if you choose to do that, if you find out that that's the right path for you, the best way to use it as a supplement is as a supplement to behavior modification. So behavior modification meaning like learning what your behavior patterns are, where some of your roadblocks and challenges are, and working on that in a systematic way and modifying your behavior. So, if you have issues with time management and you lose track of time, going on a medication isn't going to all of a sudden make you more aware of the time and be where you need to be on time and get things done on time. It's not going to do that. You need to practice and put the real work in if you want to change that problem. So what I always recommend is if you're choosing to use medication, it's really important that you're also working on your executive functioning skills, controlling your impulsivity to a degree that is, workable for you or is acceptable for you. So I was on medication personally for 14 years, starting in first grade. And it was a great help for me personally. And I actually was on several different types of medication. And that's another thing that people should be aware of is like, it's not like you just pick a medication and it's necessarily going to be the right one right off the bat. But it was immensely helpful for me. And I was in a very strict school setting. I was in a Catholic school. It was very rigid. And that was really hard for me as a young kid to sort of, blend in with and work with. So medication was extremely helpful and it helped me focus. I was a really smart kid, but I didn't have enough attention span to even, take in any information. So by the end of first grade, I couldn't read at all. And that was because I couldn't pay attention enough to learn to read. So I used it up through my education all the way right to the end of college, and right before grad school, I came off of it. And that was a huge adjustment for me because I had worked on some organization skills, but it really hit home when I came off my medication and entered grad school and was like, oh my goodness, like I am not nearly as organized as I need to be to do grad school. So I had a big reality check at that moment. And I really had to then work on some of my executive functioning skills like in real time as I was adjusting to not being on meds. So it was helpful for me in a lot of ways. I think it did curb some of my impulsivity. I think it helped me have better focus so I could learn. It didn't really do a whole lot for me in terms of socializing. And I have a video on socializing with ADHD. If you're curious about that, you should watch that. But that's one thing that I had to learn on my own. Taking medication isn't going to automatically make me pick up on social cues in a social setting and like observe when people are like, oh God, she's going on and on and on. Medication's not going to do that. Like that's something I have to practice in real time and like make sure that I'm aware of. So after grad school and like going into full adulthood, I started to realize like, oh, this is a problem for me. This keeps coming up as a problem. I keep feeling like I've messed up a social interaction or something. Like I've got to work on that. And I was not on medication. And so the progress I've made in that area is only because I intentionally worked on it. Now, going it alone is one thing, but back to using medication as a tool, another really good tool that you should implement is getting the help of a coach. So if you feel really overwhelmed by the idea of working on some of these symptoms that you have, in terms of like executive functioning, impulsivity, like socializing, you should definitely seek out the support of somebody who works with adults with ADHD who can really, help train you to be aware of some of these things and then design a plan for you to help you work on them and get better with them. And then the medication can be a bonus to that. But so when we talk about medication, that's just one of the things that I often tell people is it's not a quick fix. It's best used in conjunction with behavior modification. And also, like I said before, you might go on several different medications before you find the right one. There's going to be a big adjustment period, right? So your body has to adjust to this new thing that you're putting in it. So you might have appetite issues. You might have mood issues. This might interact with other medications that you're on. And so finding the right medication can take a long time for some people. It can take time for your body to adjust. So it's not just like, oh, the doctor's going to prescribe something and then like, great, I'm good now. So those are some things that I definitely suggest that people, keep at the front of their mind when they're trying this. And it can be really frustrating because you might have this hope that, oh, this is going to fix everything if I just go on a medication. And it's not so simple. So what I really advise people to do is educate yourself about the medications that are out there. Educate yourself about behavior modification. Look in your area for professionals who work with people with ADHD, or you can also do that virtually. And then, really think about what are the things that you struggle most with that you want to work on, because that will kind of help you understand the limits of the medication. If you're the things on your list are things that cannot be addressed by medication, it'll help you have a really realistic view of what you're going to hopefully get out of using medication and where that will fall short.